Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming today. This is a day that a local family has been waiting for over nearly 4 decades. It's a day that will, in time, see wrongs righted and justice served. Today begins the last chapter of a tragedy that began with the rape and murder of 9-year-old Daralyn Johnson in 1982. Today I'm announcing that the Canyon County Prosecutor's Office has charged David Allen Dalrymple, age 62, with those crimes. This is a matter that some might describe as a cold case, but to the Canyon County Sheriff's Office, it has remained an open and active investigation since the day forensic evidence alerted them that the perpetrator of this crime had not yet been brought to justice and exonerated Charles Fain for the crime. Incredible advances in DNA technology led the Sheriff's Office to David Dalrymple and to criminal charges related to the rape and murder of Daralyn. Dalrymple, who retains the benefit of the presumption of innocence, is currently incarcerated at the Idaho Department of Corrections, where he is serving a 20-year to life sentence for lewd conduct of minor, sexual abuse of a minor, and kidnapping after being convicted in 2004 in an unrelated matter. Given the current pandemic and Mr. Dalrymple's assured continued incarceration, the Canyon County Sheriff's Office is going to be holding off on serving the warrant until later this summer. The decision will avoid significant complications with regards to witness travel, jail space, and other issues that immediate criminal proceedings would bring during the already trying times that we're all in. I also come before you today asking for the public's additional assistance. During the course of the investigation, we have developed reason to believe members of our own community and public may have additional information and aspects with regards to assist law enforcement in this investigation as well as some other investigations. We would ask that the public, if you have information, to please call Crime Stoppers at 208-343-COPS and or contact the Canyon County Sheriff's Office. We believe that Mr. Fain, as well as the Johnson's family, are entitled above all else to their privacy. We have offered Mr. Fain, as well as Daralyn's family, advance notice of today's announcement as a courtesy, and we would respectfully defer any additional comments by them. Finally, I want to commend the Sheriff's Office, the detectives, the officers, current as well as past, for their amazing work on this case, as well as all the partners that have been involved in this case for the last 4 decades. And I'm sure he'll talk about it, but really their dedication and persistence in finding the person that committed this horrific crime. We're looking forward to ensuring justice for Daralyn and the Johnson family. Our heart goes out to them, and we hope today's news can bring some semblance of closure to both them as well as our community to a decades-long nightmare. I'm going to turn it over to the sheriff, who I'm sure will talk a little bit about the investigation.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you all. As the prosecutor has mentioned, the Sheriff's Office has kept this case active since 2001, when Charles Fain was exonerated, and then since 2013, when I took over, I have continued to dedicate our manpower and our resources to this case to bring justice to the person responsible for the death of Daralyn Johnson. A bit of background to the case. On February 21st, 1982, at approximately 0800 hours, Daralyn Johnson, age 9, left her home in Nampa, Idaho, to walk to Lincoln Elementary. 3 days later, Daralyn Johnson, deceased body, was found by a group of fishermen in a shallow drain ditch near the Snake River. I'm going to wait. It's a slow-moving train. I will back up for some background for you all. On February 21st, 1982, at approximately 8 o'clock in the morning, Daralyn Johnson, age 9, left her home in Nampa to walk to Lincoln Elementary. She never returned home on that day. 3 days later, Daralyn Johnson's deceased body was found by a group of fishermen in a shallow drain ditch near the Snake River just north of Maprock, located in Melba, Canyon County, Idaho. She had been raped, and prior to her death, she had sustained blunt force trauma to her torso and blunt force trauma to her skull. Ultimately, the cause of death was determined to be drowning and was ruled a homicide. As the prosecutor explained, Charles Fain was ultimately convicted and spent approximately 18 years on death row. In 2001, Mr. Fain was released in part due to evidence in DNA advanced technology. My office and my detectives have worked tirelessly in collaboration with the prosecuting attorney, Brian Taylor and his office, his deputy prosecutors, the FBI, and many others over the years. For the last several years, I have assigned detectives to this case as their number one priority. They have traveled to many states, and they have interviewed numerous individuals regarding this case. The FBI has been a very close working partner with the Sheriff's Office on this case, and I want to extend my great appreciation and gratitude to that agency. In 2018, my office sent portions of DNA samples, the same used to exonerate Charles Fain, to a well-known lab in California, and progress was made in identifying David Dalrymple. In February of 2020 this year, Dalrymple was interviewed at the Idaho Department of Corrections in Kuna, Idaho, regarding his involvement into the rape and death of Daralyn Johnson. Late last week, Prosecuting Attorney's Office and my office received the DNA analysis report identifying Dalrymple as the primary suspect in this case. Based on the totality of the case, and especially the long wait the Johnson family has endured over all these decades, the decision to charge David Dalrymple was made, and this press conference was scheduled. I want to thank the prosecuting attorney and his team for the efforts they have put forth in bringing this case to where it is today. As the prosecutor stated, there was a lot of people involved in this case over this many years. Detectives that have retired from our agency worked this case. Detectives that are currently with this agency have worked this case. Deputy prosecutors, the prosecutor himself, my office. None of this could have been done single-handedly. It took decades and efforts of many individuals to get us to where we are today. But as the prosecutor also mentioned, through our investigation, we believe there are other victims out there. David Dalrymple is currently serving a 20 to life sentence for kidnapping, lewd conduct with a minor, and sexual abuse of a minor. The victims in that case was between age 9 and 11 years old. According to the probable cause affidavit, which you will have today, a public record, you will see the information was listed there that links him to other crimes. During our investigation, the Canyon County Sheriff's Office has located 2 other victims of similar age to Daralyn who never reported to law enforcement to being sexually abused by David Dalrymple. We are asking the public, we are imploring the public, if you have any information on those cases or on this current case, to please come forward and contact my office, or as Brian said, the Crime Stoppers. Because this case is now charged by the prosecuting attorney's office and the investigation is ongoing, we're not taking any questions today. Our goal of this conference is to ask for public assistance in obtaining that additional evidence, thanking the Johnson family for their patience, their diligence, and enduring, as Prosecuting Attorney Taylor has stated, the worst nightmare a family and parents could imagine that would happen to their daughter. This is a tremendous day in the fact that we have identified that person responsible and that we are giving some closure, at least in this chapter, after 38 years, to Daralyn Johnson, the victim, and to her family, who are wonderful people. Thank you so much for coming.